The Lift America Act that we are considering today will help our nation build back better, deliver much needed infrastructure improvements for our district. I want to talk about two issues. One is the tribal broadband prioritization in order to help our tribes get the state of the art healthcare, educational, and economic opportunities that exist. They have been the least to be connected in America. What was already a problem turned into a catastrophe once the pandemic hit, when schools closed, and in many cases the nearest hospital or clinics was hours away. And without robust connectivity, people couldn't work remotely or take advantage of telehealth services. In 2018, as part of the Ray Bombs Act, Congress enacted my bill, the Tribal Broadband Deployment Act, that required the FCC to study and report on tribal broadband connectivity. When the FCC finally issued its report in 2019, the data showed that there isn't just a digital divide in Indian country, it's a digital canyon. No matter what metrics you looked at, tribal lands have significantly lower access to internet than non-tribal lands. That is why the Lift America Act is so important. This bill will make historic investments to expand internet access to increase economic and telehealth opportunity for tribal communities. To do this, the Lift America Act includes my bill, the Tribal Internet Expansion Act. It amends the Communications Act to direct the FCC's Universal Service Fund to explicitly prioritize tribal lands along with rural and low-income areas. In addition, the Lift America Act, which I am pleased to co-sponsor, dedicates $500 million for tribal connectivity and sets aside funds to increase adoption and digital equity on tribal lands. Chairman Wheeler, much needs to be done to ensure that tribal communities are fully connected, but in your opinion, will these provisions help increase broadband connectivity on tribal lands?
You are absolutely right, Congressman. Your amendment, your bill, for instance, to amend Section 254 to make it clear what the responsibility is in tribal lands is important. What the LIFT Act does also includes tribal lands. Let me just make one quick point about another provision of the LIFT Act that is going to help tribal lands and everybody else. And that's the requirement for transparency. You know, I spent a lot of time on tribal lands when I was chairman. And what I was finding was that they were kind of given a take it or leave it choice by their local provider. And they didn't know what other areas were being charged for similar service. And the transparency that this bill does will help in that regard too.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The other area of this bill I wanted to highlight is a section advancing residential solar energy for lower income communities. Climate change has most significantly affected many low income communities, yet too many of the technologies that will save our planet are still primarily available to those with higher incomes. Production of clean, renewable energy should be accessible to every community, regardless of their zip code or economic status, especially in my district where we experience over 350 days of sunshine per year in Southern California, Palm Springs area. There is huge untapped potential for every community to harness clean energy for their own homes. Secretary Moniz, I want to talk to you specifically about access and equity in the energy transition. The Lift America Act includes funding to build low-income community solar installations. Why is equitable access to clean energy important, and how do we ensure that our transition is actually equitable and inclusive? And in addition to community solar, what are other options we can pursue?
Well, Mr. Ruiz, certainly providing reliable, clean electricity and affordable electricity on tribal lands has always been a very, very high priority of mine. I would, because it is, well, it's the right thing to do, and it provides also the opportunity for education, for employment. It is an equity issue. In 2016, I was very pleased with bipartisan support to finally get, I think it was $11 million appropriated to provide credit support for perhaps $100 million of loan program for energy projects on tribal lands. I think it's time to employ that. And frankly, I would love to see that increase by an order of magnitude.